Hello, so it's Saturday the 27th of June 2020 and today we're going to talk about UK house prices. Now, did you know that the average UK house price is the same as it was in 1986? In fact, it's the same as it was in 1974 as well. Now, you might at this point take to the land registry and point out that in 1986 the average UK house cost £32,000, not the £232,000, give or take, that it costs today. And in 1974, meanwhile, the average cost was more like £9,000. And that's where your argument breaks down. You see, you're measuring house prices in rotten fiat money. You're using the Great British Pound, surf money. Now, I, on the other hand, I'm using a much older and more consistent measure. I'm using the money of kings. So today we're going to consider UK house prices measured in gold. And in doing so, we expose the extent to which you have been right royally robbed by your government and hoodwinked by its agent-in-chief, the Bank of England. So we tend to think of money as the thing we use to buy and sell stuff with, or to use economists' parlance, a medium of exchange. But payment is not the only function of money. Money is also a measure of value, a store of wealth, and a standard of deferred payment. Thus does it make borrowing possible. And there's actually a verse that goes, "Money is a matter of functions for, a medium, a measure, a standard and a store." Now, thanks largely to the extraordinary developments in communication technology that we've seen over the last 150 years, the telegraph, the telephone, the radio, satellite, GPS, digital, the internet, and so on, fiat money has proved a highly effective means of payment within nations. Across borders, it's a lot more ploddy and problematic. But as a store of wealth, it falls short. Something that has its purchasing power deliberately eroded by government policy is not a store of wealth. It is a drain of it. Now, because fiat money's purchasing power erodes, it also falls short as a measure of value. £100 is not the same as £100 20 years ago. Meanwhile, if you want to measure value, I should say, across borders, and in today's globalised world, who doesn't, you must get involved in the complex and shifting sands of foreign exchange calculations. And if you want to measure value across time and borders, well, good luck, is all I can say. And thus too, as a standard of deferred payment, does fiat money fall short. It's great if you're a borrower, the value of your debt diminishes without you having to pay anything back. But if you're the lender, But that's where the bank's ability to create money comes in, but let's leave that for another day. So gold, meanwhile, is a terrific store of wealth. You can smash gold with a hammer, you can mould it into pretty much whatever shape you like, but there is one thing you cannot do, and that is destroy it. It is eternal. All the gold that has ever been mined still remains. This is a gold solidus, minted in Constantinople in 602 AD. 1,400 years later, it's exactly as it was back then. And the same can be said of its purchasing power. I'm not just talking about the fact that UK house prices are the same as they were in 1974. You can look at the cost of bread in ancient Babylon, clothing in ancient Rome, meat in the time of Muhammad, or oil in the time of Rockefeller, and find that the same gold coin would buy you as much today, in fact more than it did then. And as such a formidable store of wealth, with its consistency of purchasing power and international recognition since before the dawn of civilization, it makes an effective unit of account and a great standard of deferred payment. And that is why we conduct the exercise of measuring house prices in gold. Here, courtesy of Nick Laird at Gold Charts Are Us, we see UK house prices measured in gold since 1955. And by this measure, the peak of the UK housing market was in 2004. Sterling was relatively strong at the time. It was more than $2 for a pound. And the UK housing market was booming. Gold was relatively weak. It was about $400 an ounce. And so the peak of the UK housing market was about 720 ounces of gold for the average UK house. The depths of the housing market were in 1980. You can see it got retested then in 1984. The UK economy was weak, the pound was weak, there was civil unrest. Gold in 1980 was at the peak of its epic bull market when it reached $850 an ounce. And the average UK house back then could be bought for little more than 50 ounces of gold. So 50 ounces of gold to 720, that's quite a big difference. And today gold is about £1,400 an ounce, $1,700 and something dollars, and the average UK house is about £232,000, and so that's about 166 ounces of gold. So 166 compared to 720, quite a big difference, but still a way to go to get back to this sort of 50, 60, 70 area. Where's it heading? 150 ounces, that looks like a given. It's clearly trending lower. 150 ounces would take us back to the 2011 lows, but will it go below 150 ounces of gold? That's an interesting question. Which are you more bullish about in today's COVID-19 world of out-of-control money printing, duplicitous measures of inflation, civil unrest and looming unemployment? I'd have to say I'd pick gold over housing. Perhaps we do go below 150 and all the way back below 100 ounces to the lower end of the range. We shall see. What about London house prices? Now, London is a very different animal to the rest of the UK. It experienced an extraordinary boom in house prices in the 2011 to 2016 period that eclipsed the rest of the UK. And that was going on as gold was going through its bear market. And for the London-centric out there, which is me included, the average home price in London stands at £486,000 or 342 ounces of gold. And by way of a snapshot for zones 1 and 2, let me show you one borough I picked at random, and I've gone for Wandsworth. Again, courtesy of Nick Laird at Gold Charts Are Us, we see Wandsworth house prices measured in gold, and currently the average house price in Wandsworth is 483 ounces of gold. In the 2011 to 2012 low, it was about 350 ounces of gold, and it's currently trending lower. In the heady heights of 2004, when it was 1,300 ounces of gold to buy the average Wandsworth house. But what's quite interesting is even with the extraordinary bull market that's gone on in UK property, in particular London property, over the last 30 years, in gold terms, at 483 ounces of gold, the average house price in Wandsworth is the same as it was back in 1997. But there's a clear downtrend in place, so we're probably heading lower. Now, reports are that against the expectations of many, UK property, including that in London, is having something of a boom now the market has reopened. And now that might be a function of pent-up demand, it might be low interest rates, meaning no forced sellers, who knows? But that's currently what's happening in this new post-COVID world. Now, in this post-COVID new normal world, especially with all these riots and so on going on, I wonder if cities are going to be as desirable as they once were. You wouldn't have thought they would be, but on the other hand, never bet against London. So does UK property go back to its 2011, 2012 lows, or does it go lower even? Or have we seen the lows already? That will be determined by the aggregation of 1 million or more decisions in the gold market, in the foreign exchange markets, and of course in the housing markets. In the meantime, I'm holding some gold. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel and look out for my books on Audible, at Amazon and elsewhere. I've been Dominic Frisby. See you soon.